I'm Jim Collison, and this is the Wellbeing at Work with CliftonStrengths podcast, recorded on April 13th, 2022. In this CliftonStrengths podcast, we look at the strengths, insight, and action planning items from Appendix 1 in the Gallup book, Wellbeing at Work, one theme at a time, and today's theme is significance. If you're listening live on our live page, gallup.com/CliftonStrengths/live, that's our live page. There's a link right above me here that'll take you to the YouTube instance. Love to have you log into our chat room. We'll be taking questions a little bit later. Or if you have questions after the fact, you can always send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jacqueline Robinson is our host today. She works as a Gallup Learning and Development Consultant and was the primary contributor to Appendix 1 in the Wellbeing at Work book. And Jacqueline, always great to see you and welcome back.
Thank you. Hello.
We are spending some time talking about significance. Why don't you read that definition for us?
All right. So the significance theme wants those with significance want to make a big impact. They are independent and prioritize projects based on how much influence they will have on their organization or the people around them.
Big thinkers in this
Big
case,
thinkers,
and big
big
doers
impact.
oftentimes. Yeah, big impact. Love it. How does that relate to you? And then maybe how does that relate to others?
How it relates to you? Well, you are at your best when doing high visibility, high impact work with a team of people contributing to the cause. How it relates to others? Others you work with know what they're doing and the value it is bringing to the team, department, customers, or even community. Really good at just letting people know what they're doing that's creating impact. And that's what people want. We're seeing that more and more if we just even bring in what the workforce research is telling us. People want to feel connected to the mission and the purpose.
Yeah, no, that has become a big element just here in
Mhm.
the last few years thinking about that. This is also one I think I get a lot of people ask me if I have, because a lot of what I do here,
Mhm.
with the webcasts looks like it. I think it's more woo communication than anything, but I do get people that ask me about it. So maybe I'll learn some things from it here today and we'll be able to explain a little bit better. When we look at it from a well-being context, significance,
Mhm.
what does it look like when it's thriving, and maybe what does it look like when it's struggling?
So thriving, I think of thriving as when this person's working alongside credible, influential people who are also dedicated to seeing the vision come to fruition or the initiative come to completion, knowing that it is driving change for the positive. Struggling is when working in a more solitary environment where the work being accomplished goes unnoticed and the impact being made feels pretty subpar. Sometimes this might even result from the leadership team and their misdirected focus on items that won't or don't create lasting impact or positive change.
Mm,
That can be a real struggle.
mm. When hands are tied, when it doesn't, I think this is
Hmm.
one where when there's no hope of those things coming, it can be hard. Again, that can
Hmm.
relate to any one of these themes, but we're thinking about big impact. We're thinking about, and that
Yeah.
then I think sometimes that big impact doesn't always necessarily need to be in size of employees or in value of an organization.
Hmm.
I think that big impact can exist in a single other human being
Hmm.
from that standpoint, of having that change agent, so to speak, for it. We have some best practices there in Appendix 1. We got some best practices for this. When we think about it in terms of well-being, you've picked one of the well-being elements to match with significance. Talk a little bit about that.
I did. And I am calling an audible on this one. I did
Oh,
financial well-being,
okay.
but I really liked the original draft that I had put forth. So that's what I'm going to read for you. So, with financial well-being, this person's financial motivations might be about creating financial stability
Mm,
for their family and next of kin. So, they may want more information about creating a trust, setting up a college fund for their children, or passing down those familial antiquities to those near and dear to them.
mm,
What you'll find in the book, and this is also true, but I really wanted to make sure we touched on that aspect. Some with significance might want to show that they're financially secure, and so they're spending more than the budget might allow for, and
mm.
that's where it's helpful to kind of dial it back and say, where is my money best invested? So you'll see something closer to that in the book, but
Hmm.
I wanted to go with my original edit.
Yeah, I like your original. I like your edit on that. We'll say a live edit
Yeah,
to
live
there
edit.
in the sense that oftentimes, I mean, I think with financial well-being, a lot of people struggle with it, and it's kind of it can be a real drag on their
Mhm.
well-being, right? Besides career well-being, which we know can have the biggest impact.
Mhm.
I think financial comes or can come in a close second. And so someone who can help others with their finances, making like saying, come be a part of something bigger, or
Mhm.
here are some
Yes.
things you can do to be a part of something bigger. I mean, don't you think that can play into that as well?
Yes. For sure.
There are four other elements in the back of the book as well that Jacqueline has pinned, available for you to use in your coaching or for yourself in your organizations. Again, Appendix One, well-being at work. So, Jacqueline, with this in mind, how can we use, or can this be used? Again, sometimes we think of this theme in the term of me. How can it be?
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit more about how can it be used as we, as it's used to support others.
Yeah, so if you're a manager or you're leading a team, it can be used to help team members or colleagues understand the impact the role is making on the larger goal or initiative. If you're on a team, since feedback and our recognition helps you identify whether you're making positive progress or not, you also tend to be really good at giving feedback and recognition.
Mm,
And this helps others feel valued for their efforts that they're putting forth. It makes them feel seen as well. And then as an individual, you are adept at sorting the responsibilities in your life based on what is high value or impact. So remaining cognizant of that fact, I think will help you sort through what's a high priority, high impact responsibility from those more mundane or trivial
mm,
responsibilities. You have to remember there's some things that you just have to do. It's just a part of life. It's a part of the role. But I think significance can be a really good sorting theme when you have a lot on your plate to say what is going to give me the most value
mhm.
and the team the most value or my family the most value and start to kind of eliminate some other things from there.
I kind of heard you just say its superpower is recognition. Like that's
Mhm.
kind of can you? I mean, I guess I haven't really thought about that much. We kind of think sometimes in these individualization or woo being being able to
Yeah.
celebrate people. I've never really thought of significance. Would you dig in a little bit more on that? And because I think there's something there that I
Mhm.
don't maybe see being used enough.
I don't think so either, and they're really good at it. Those that have it, because it's so top of mind, they recognize how feedback
Mm,
and recognition helps them know if they're on the right path to whatever that impact or goal is
mhm,
they want to make because it's so top of mind for them and it's so valuable in the way that they proceed through life. They're just naturally really
mm,
good at providing feedback or recognition to
mm,
others. And they do so, I think, quite graciously, much
mm.
like positivity. They go forward with it, but their motivation for doing so
Yeah.
is different. They know how helpful it is. Positivity wants someone to feel good. Significance wants that too, but they know how helpful it can be when you get that feedback or recognition.
Oh, the power of includer driven towards recognition. Like,
Yes.
wow. Because we know the power of recognition. Like
Mhm.
I think recognition's more powerful than people actually realize. And when someone
Yes.
gets recognized
That's
in a
undervalued.
meaningful way, like it will move mountains for
Mhm.
people. And I don't think I think we're getting better at it, but I don't think we do it
Yeah,
enough. I just think we've got a great opportunity.
I do too.
Significance, I'm gonna call on you if you're listening to this, good chance you have it, especially if you're listening to it in the future. You chose this to listen to it to learn something, and I think you have a calling in some ways to be a champion for recognition. We
Mhm.
definitely need it. Amazing things happen when organizations get recognition right. In Appendix 2, we have
Yes.
a framework that we're working through. Well, I just as I
We sure
said that, I
do.
think about these times in my life where I've been recognized in a way, and just the super rocket fuel that gave me for engagement and motivation. Get kind
Mhm.
of fired up just thinking about it. In Appendix 2, we have a framework to work through for these well-being elements. Very simple one. One you might want to add to your coaching, but to walk us through this with significance.
Yeah. So for significance, you can ask yourself, how can my community get better? What can I help change? You're really good at creating impact. So this is where you could lean into significance. Ask your team members, how does the work we do every day have an impact on our communities?
Mm-hmm.
And we're hearing this a lot too. So this might, sometimes we think community well-being and it's undervalued as well. But a lot of Gen Z are starting to come in saying, what are we doing? What's the impact that our organization is creating on the environment around us? So this could be a really good question for those that have significance high. And then take action. Establish partnerships with community organizations that share your team's purpose. And that's a really great and beneficial way to loop both of those together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, I'm hearing from hiring managers, they're going, questions we never got asked in interviews, we're getting asked now about what are we doing in our community? How can we support our community?
Yeah.
Significance.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. You can you can help highlight what is high impact, what's going to offer the most value, and let's get involved.
Mission and purpose, right? It being
Mhm.
more than just a paycheck, it being more than just a place to come and work, or even
Mhm.
just to be a part of, but how are we having a positive impact on our culture, our environment, our locale, our whatever, right? Fill in the
Mhm.
blank, our industry, some of those kind of things. Well, you got my brain really spinning on this idea of recognition, and I'm
Oh,
gonna spend some
yes.
time thinking about this. It's recognition, just to be honest, is an area I really struggle in, and so any edge,
No. I think
yes,
I think you do so well.
I think I do it well in one area, and that's in the verbal. That's telling people I have no problem when I see a great job, when I see
Mhm.
things being done in the moment, but there's more to it that's one dimensional, right? I think there's opportunities that I have and that we all have in other areas to make it multidimensional, to
Yeah.
make it more than just what we're already good at. But how can we recognize people in other ways? Apart from significance, I think we have a huge task ahead for us to do it in this way. And so I think I've got some things to learn, and I think I'd like to lean into some of those. It's hard. I watch some of those people who do it at Gallup. We recognize really well, and I watch people do it, and I'm like, oh, I just wish I could do that.
They just
You know?
land the plane with
I
that style
know.
of communication and the way they thread
Oh,
in quotes or stories. It's
I
pretty
know.
phenomenal.
And they spend some time doing it,
Mhm.
and I always appreciate it. Jacqueline, any other final thoughts on significance as we wrap it?
Um, you know what? So there's a quote that this just reminded me of, and it goes back to Margaret Mead. And I've said this a lot, but always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everyone else.
Mm,
Significance has a really good way of recognizing people and seeing how the uniqueness they're bringing is driving change and impact. So props to you, those high in significance. Keep living your best life and spreading that love and joy to others.
Well, with that, I'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we do have available now in Gallup Access. Head out to gallup.com/CliftonStrengths. Sign in there, and they're all available in the resources tab. For coaching, master coaching, or become a Gallup certified strengths coach, you can just send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. That's really good for any questions, by the way, if you want to do those. Stay up to date on all the webcasts. We have a couple more coming up. We have just one more S and a W. We have the best theme. I'm
Oh,
not going to say
yes.
which one it is, but we have the best theme still coming here next week. And and
Woo!
yeah, there you go. You had to say it, didn't you?
I have
Uh,
to say it like that too.
exactly. Woohoo. Head out to gallup.eventbrite.com. Join us on any social platform by searching Clifton Strengths. And most of all, if you've enjoyed this or found it useful, please share it. I get notes from many of you during the week that you found something useful and you've been sharing it with your teams. And of course, we always appreciate that. I want to thank you for
Mhm.
listening. Stay around for some post show. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.